like coming here a lot.
It's a beautiful park. Do you know what it used to be?
Correct.
It was a quarry. So, like this, you see a hill here. It took them several years to fill in the quarry to the point where they actually had a hill.
Oh, wow.
So, like what you see over there, like how it's all dug out,
Mm-hmm.
that this whole area between all these streets was one big quarry.
Wow.
And then they turned it into a sledding hill, and then they kept the one part of it. And it's beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very relaxing.
Yep. I can't wait till the trees grow, you know. Well, it's going to take a long time, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to look totally different then, too.
Yeah,
So.
it's going to be dope, though. It's going to be a nice thing to see.
Yeah. So this is Terence, and I'm Jeff, and he heard my question, but I'll say it again for the sake of the camera, but then we can just talk to each other.
Okay.
So what do you think happens after we die, after this life?
Well, I kind of have two theories. When we die, we either get reincarnated into something else, someone else, an animal, or I won't say an object, but
Okay.
but
Yeah.
we get,
Well, some people do actually think that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that would be my next question. Like a living thing or
Yeah,
anything,
I
you
kind
know?
of feel like, I mean, if he was reincarnated into a tree, I feel like that's a living thing too. So
Yeah.
maybe you can be an object.
Right.
But yeah, anything that's living. I
But
feel like
not necessarily a person, right?
you can be. I feel like
Yeah.
you just be just someone in a different life. It'll be a different universe if you think if you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Like I feel like when people ask like you look so familiar and you never seen a person in a long time or
Yeah.
ever in your life,
Yeah.
that's because you've been reincarnated. Your spirit has been reincarnated into a whole other being.
Yeah.
And like your spirit recognizes that spirit. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I remember you. I haven't seen you in my life. So.
Right. So that's your theory.
Yeah.
Is that, would you call it wishful thinking or a theory based on like scientific knowledge? You know, like what would you base your theory on?
I can say wishful. I don't really like. I don't think everything can be explained by science. Like,
Yeah.
Some stuff just can't be. You know.
Right.
And certain stuff is. So I don't know. I don't think that can be explained by science. Though.
Yeah.
Not in the sense where we all know, like everyone knows, like when you die, you go in the grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's pretty much the only thing.
If it could be, I think everyone would be getting on board with it. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously it's a debatable issue, which makes a question like this so
Yeah.
interesting for me. I get so many different responses and,
Yeah.
different stories on, you know, like how people arrive to where they're at.
Yeah.
So you said you already said before I turned the camera on that you don't have much of a religious background or
No.
not now maybe.
Yeah, not now. I was, of course, when I was coming up, I would go to church here and there, Catholic church. But yeah, I kind of strayed away from it, not because of like, you know, God. Because I do believe in God, and I believe there's a devil, and I believe that stuff happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I just feel like God's my best friend, and He's someone that no one else can understand. My God, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I know people be like, it's one God, it's only one God, or this God and that God. I'm like, okay, well, I just know my God, you know?
Yeah.
I can't really.
I guess I'm kind of thinking maybe when you say my God, would you be saying your relationship with God?
My relationship.
So that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
But you don't have your own personal God, and everyone else has their own personal God.
Yeah.
That's
So I can't even categorize it. Like, it's
yeah.
just my
Your
personal-
understanding of God
Yeah.
at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's,
So
yeah.
so what I'm hearing, Terence, is that you do have spiritual beliefs, like you have a soul or a part of you that will outlive your body.
Mm-hmm.
That it, you know, that you do believe in life after death, you know, like some kind of an existence. You believe in God, the devil. I don't know if you'd say heaven or hell. What do you think about that?
Heaven or hell? I'm gonna be honest. From my background, I believe we live in a hell right now, and I feel like heaven is somewhere you need to get to as you go through hell.
Okay.
Like it's just certain things when you're living here on this planet, it's unexplainable. It's like, why it's so tragic, that is terrible. Why is this even happening?
Yeah.
But then think about it, like a lot of things we go through, it molds us to be the person we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
It molds us to be that person that sees the beauty in everything.
So I'm just curious, is there anything in your life that when it happened, it was like the most horrible thing, but now that you think back and you see where you're at now with it, you wouldn't trade it for the world?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's weird, but
but at the time it was like, why me, God, or whatever.
Yeah, I've been there, and I've always questioned like why, but then later down the line, this is why. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm thankful, I'm grateful. I can't even complain about anything anymore. Like, I don't want to complain about nothing anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm always just happy. I like to smile, I like to laugh, joke.
Yeah.
Even if in a bad situation, I'm still laughing.
And I would imagine there's some things that you're still not, like, haven't figured out, like you wish it hadn't happened.
Yeah, a lot. A lot.
Do you think for those kinds of things, you will come to a point where you're glad things went down the way they went down, or?
Yeah, I think eventually everything comes to pass to where you are accepted. You are really accepted.
It molds you to be who you are, and
sometimes it's hard to accept. Sometimes it's just like, I was a couple punches thrown at me, but I couldn't, and it's probably gonna be more punches thrown at you, but at the same time, accept it for what it is. Just accept it for what it's doing to you. Accept it for what your life is looking like,
Yeah.
Like, I know my life can be way, not even worse. Somebody else's life can be way worse than mine.
Yeah.
Certain situations is different.
Well, we can always think of someone who's got things worse than ourselves, right?
So it's like, there's no need to complain. There's no need. You are where you are, where you need to be.
Yeah.
Always. So that's how I feel.
Well, you sound like a grateful person who appreciates God and life and the lessons you learn. And you're out here at the park to kind of get away from it all. I would imagine do some self-reflective thinking, and I would imagine it's that kind of thinking that brought you to the appreciation for even the hard things in life.
Definitely.
That would be my guess.
A lot of everything I went through got me to this point. And I don't like, when you go through stuff and you start that feeling of hate or just
resentment or
regret, like, those feelings don't feel good.
No.
Like,
why live with it?
Like, why? Like, I like to feel like this. I like to be happy. I like to just smile and hug the next person. What's up? Hey, how y'all doing? You
that's
know
cool.
what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. Now that's me. At first it wasn't. But now that's me. So.
Now, when you were coming up the sidewalk, I thought, do I want to talk to this guy? Because you had your hood way over your face. I couldn't even see your face.
Because I'm cold.
It is cold out.
And then when I first got here, it was pretty nice. But
the temperature has dropped.
It dropped really fast. And I'm like,
because it was like in the 50s. I was a little further away from here, away from the lake. So, but like an hour ago, it was in the 50s, and now I looked on the temperature in my car. It's like 35.
See, like, I don't even know what happened.
So, Terence, can I ask you? So you said your family's Catholic? You went to a Catholic church, or?
I want to say my family's Catholic. I just had friends that they took me in.
Oh, okay. So you had some experiences with any other kinds of churches, or?
No, really. I can't put my finger on it. I just know like most of the churches I went to were Catholic. I've been to plenty of churches. I just never stayed enough to.
Right, just like as a visitor, maybe, or whatever.
Just a visitor, guest, a friend of a friend.
Have you ever read the Bible or been exposed to much of the Bible, or would you say, or?
I've been exposed to it in concepts, like as far as reading other books that reference the Bible. I read a little bit of it, but I'm not gonna say I'm really knowledgeable. So.
And not been to any kind of because a lot of churches have like Bible training, like Catholic churches, like confirmation classes.
I've been to Bible study a couple times, but me personally, I just didn't grasp it. I didn't. I just feel like if I wasn't reading it myself, which I didn't, I'm not gonna say I didn't want to. I just didn't have the drive to. I just kind of was living, I was just living, but I understood. My understanding of God was like, I'm here for a reason. I got something to do. I gotta find my purpose. And
I think you do. I think God made you for a reason.
So when I just sit down with myself and think about, okay, I'm talking to him. I feel like I'm talking to him most of the time when I meditate, whatever case may be.
Yeah.
And I just found the answers. It comes slow, but
yeah. So when you think about God and your ideas about God, would you say they come mostly from, say, your imagination, or would they come from outside sources? And then to follow that up, where do you think they should come from? So in other words, are we free to just imagine God the way we want him to be, and that's how he is? Or see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. I would say both. There's our sources that, give me a little idea about how they think about it or how the book explains it. And then there's just my imagination where I feel like God is this. He's trying to mold me to be a better person.
Yeah.
And I do believe that you should be free on how you think about God. I feel like, because it's not like God can just walk up to you, to both of us right now, and be like, oh yeah, so yeah, he's right, he's wrong. He's not. It's something that's. I don't even know how to put it. I wouldn't say it's an idea, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like an idea,
Yeah.
Like everybody has their own beliefs, and it's like no right or wrongs for me. I don't feel like there's no right or wrongs. I just feel like everybody experiencing life differently.
Yeah.
We're like I feel like, to be honest, we're a bunch of atoms or blood vessels in God's body. We just walking around having our own experience with God's body. Like,
well, I gotta say, like, your attitude. I mean, so for me as a Christian, my understanding of God comes from the Bible. Mm-hmm. So the Bible is presented as God's revelation of himself. So in other words, how has God moved in history and worked in different people's lives, and what can we learn about God from that?
Yeah.
From what he's done in the past, and then what does it teach about God? And so instead of like me having to figure out God from my imagination or from other sources, it's like, this is God disclosing himself. Now, do I know does the Bible teach everything there is to know about God? No, because there's
lost books, pages gone.
Well, no, I guess what I'm saying is, like, it doesn't teach us all the science, It doesn't teach us how he did it. It doesn't even teach us all the whys, but it teaches us, from my understanding, it teaches us all that we need to know in order to have a right relationship with God.
Right.
And so a lot of the attitudes that it teaches about how we, how we should look at life and positivity, like learning from our mistakes and learning from, it sounds like you've kind of figured that out, even without the Bible, But
I wouldn't say I got it all figured out.
No, you don't. No, none of us do.
But definitely, it's my relationship with God is just, like I said, it's imagination and it's my sources, And whatever I feel like resonates with me is him talking to me.
Do you have any like strong mentors in your life? People,
Not really.
No,
not really. Like I really, to me, I just feel like it's me and him.
Yeah.
It's me and him against the world.
Yeah.
So I really, and of course I want to branch off into getting a mentor.
Yeah.
So because I'm an independent artist too, so I got a YouTube channel and do my own thing.
That's what this is going to.
Oh yeah.
My own YouTube channel. So I'll just tell you this. So one of the chief things that the Bible warns us about is called idolatry. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of idolatry? So an idol, back in the day, they used to make actual statues, and people would bow down to the statue of this god on this hill and that one over there and whatever, And so people would try to make God, it's basically making God to be who they want God to be. Mm-hmm. It's like, how would you like, as an artist especially, how would you like people to tell Terence how he is and who he is? It's like, you don't want people, you want to be able to disclose who you are. Mm-hmm. You don't want people to base their understanding of you based on what they think you should be like, or put you in a category, or no one likes that. Mm-hmm. Well, how much more God, because God has all knowledge and all wisdom, and shouldn't we understand God rightly? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even though it sounds like, it sounds better for us to like make up our own ideas about God. The Bible says no God. That's called idolatry. It's basically even if we're not making a statue or an image of God, we make an imagination. We make an image of God in our own mind, based on what we want God to be like.
Yeah.
So when I read the Bible, and this has been true as all my life as a Christian, it's like sometimes I come across things that's like, man, if I was making up an idea about God, I wouldn't put that there, or I wouldn't decide this. Yeah. It's like, but God is who He is, and it's beyond my control. And so I have to say that my understanding of God comes from an outside source, not from me. And then other people who have read the Bible even more than me. So when I have these conversations, a lot of people, their idea about God and the Bible is usually, like, if they don't read the Bible for themselves, it really is only based on other people's opinions of God or the Bible, because that's all they got to go on.
Absolutely.
So I want to, all that to say, I want to encourage you to read the Bible for yourself, and there's parts of it that, it's a big book. It's a big collection of books, really. I don't know if you know this. It was written by like 40 different authors who all, wrote in different styles and at different times in history. There's certain parts of it that might be better to understand. So, like, the Bible says Jesus Christ is the image of the invisible God. Right. So, in other words, if you want to know what God is like, look at Jesus and read about his life and read about what he's taught and what he did and how he treated people.
Right.
And so that would be the place to start. So in the Bible, there's actually like certain books called the Gospels. So the Bible has the Old Testament. I'm assuming you don't know any of this because it sounds like you don't really know much.
I know. I heard the names.
So the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament is like really long, and it's about the history of God's chosen people. So this was a group of people, the Israelites, the Jewish people, that God decided to kind of demonstrate who he was by taking one group of people and saying, I'm gonna work with this group of people, I'm gonna empower them, I'm gonna punish them when they go astray, I'm gonna show what it's like for one group of people to have a relationship with God. Right. And so that's what kind of the Old Testament's all about. And then out of that group of people would be a Messiah or this chosen person, and that's where Jesus was actually Jewish. Right. And so in the New Testament, it starts with 4 books, the Gospels, that tell the story of Jesus' life and his teachings and everything. So I would encourage you to start with those. Okay. With the idea that, okay, do I want to know God? Yes. Do I want to know what God is like? Let me read about Jesus, because he's the image of the invisible God. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough?
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. I can start as soon as today.
Yeah, I think I even have a Bible in here if you want one.
No, I have one actually at the house as well. I just don't touch it.
Yeah.
I've only picked it up for 50 pages?
Yeah, and I mean, I read a certain amount a day, so it's become a habit. I've read it through many times over my lifetime. But it doesn't happen all at once. It's like a growing knowledge.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes you just can't grasp it.
Kind of a commitment. Yeah, that's the other thing is like I read things that I've read many times before, and it's like all of a sudden it hits me in a different way. And I think that's the way God wants it to be. It's like we grow in our understanding of him and his word, and then we become more knowledgeable, Exactly. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to ask you how I can pray for you. Okay? So.